Hello everyone and welcome to our second release this year. We'll start from our app designer improvements. We added some autocomplete options for jQuery. We added jQuery type definition file, bootstrap type definition file. Also, you can see that you should be able to see some procedure execution snippets with filled parameters, some data object methods. Also, it's quite nice that you can get the autocomplete from, and also now each of these scripts are able to see each other. So that means if I have some public functions here, I can type them there and I will get them in autocomplete. A thing worth to be mentioned: if you have a really huge code base on your application, you should consider adding JavaScript definitions, documentation definitions, basically, which tells that this title and this author, there are parameters, there are type of strings, also that this function, for example, returns strings. So whenever I type get book by author, I can see what I need to pass and what I will get. So, and also all those descriptions and other stuff. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we added some jQuery type definition files. So as you saw already what we can do with our inside function. So basically everything now is available for jQuery as well. So for example, if I'm interested in some post method, I can start writing and I will get what parameters I need to send and basically basic description of this. It contains, I hope it contains almost all jQuery functions which are available in our jQuery version. So let's continue with our autocomplete options on DB Manager. Now you should be able to get all database objects which are in SQL Server, so for autocomplete. Also, if you have some select statement from some table like system, let it be system files, for example, you can get all fields as well. So we have some prime key, some file name, prime key updated, and so on. For now, I just will do top 100 everything. For this autocomplete DB Manager or autocomplete, we have a field definition list for tables. We have autocomplete for procedures and functions, but we're still missing parameters for functions and procedures. So, but we will keep improving it. Another things worth to be mentioned about DB Manager: we added some additional settings for add row numbers to query results, auto hide system columns, and how many tables, result tables to show in query. Let me demonstrate it to you. So if I have select this statement, I will press execute. You see I don't see any system columns because system columns can be chosen here. They're still available, but just now by default it will not show them for me. Also line numbers, we're adding line numbers. Result set. So if, for example, I might have many statements, and if I press execute, it will generate result sets for each of it. Just now, because I have this setting for free result set, I will see only first 3 results in my list. This is done to performance reasons, and there was an issue that someone had really many such statements, and it just the browser became unresponsive. Yeah. Another thing is searching content. Basically, when we're doing a regular search, it's searching only in object names. If you click that one, it will search also in object definitions as well. Also, in this release, we have added some dynamic loading options. Basically, what is dynamic loading? It means that it starts loading results as soon as it starts getting them. So for example, in this query before, you would need to wait all first 100 results to be returned from the server, and only then he will try to integrate in current situation. Now it gets first 30 records. In this case it's 30, and another case it might be less, but it already started painting this grid. It takes time because it has some unvarchar max columns, and as you see now, when it finishes, it just updates total counter and execute spinner is finished. Let me try it again. Yeah, if you see, it's still spinning, but it's already started to show results, and yeah, now it's complete. I hope it will help users to get results much faster. Another thing to be mentioned, I have just a random code here. If I execute it, I should see some errors with line numbers, and if I press them, I should be navigating in the code, and it should tell that, hey, I don't have this variable in place, so variable declaration, so please fix me. And that's it for our developer tools. Let's continue with our control improvements. So first in the list is filter builder field list. Let me show you. When I open filter builder, I have a lookup with all fields available. Just these fields are only from data object select list. If I press show all fields, it will show me all fields from the view. It's handy because SQL Server still allows us to filter on a fields which we do not have in a select list. Okay, our next in the list is flex split control. It's very worth to be mentioned here that we have two flex controls. One is flex split container, another is split container. The main difference is that flex split control is using flex layout, when this older generation split container is using basically absolute positioning for layouts. So now I would really recommend for you to go with flex split container, because flex layout is considered, and for a browser it's much easier to calculate its sizes. Let's move to our example. So basically what we added now, we added possibility to define max width and min width. Basically you could define it before, just a problem was that it was not considering it at all. So basically now I have I told that initially my width will be 70% percents and not pixels. We can define it in pixels and percents now. Before we could use only pixels. So now we have percents also. So how it looks like, so basically I have min width of 5%, min width of 5%, and I have max width of 90%. So if I go there, it will just stop me and will not allow to move more. So that's all for that one. Now I'll tell you about domain handling. Basically, you know that in rel you can have some domain parameter, and basically it will switch your domain to another domain. So if you have some link you are sending it to the user, it will click on it, and basically when it opens an app, it will switch that domain. A change is that if I write some non-existing domain, or basically domain where I don't have permissions, I should see such message that domain change failed, domain do not exist, or you do not have permissions. So it's just a better indication for a user what happens, instead of some really not nice errors like block failed and similar. Let's move on to field filter and or operator changes. You can read about it more in under documentation, but the main idea of it is typically distinct filter is using in operator. So if we do like this, it will create a filter string which is title in what we selected. If I have defined this OR thing, you're aware of this data source ID. I presented it in previous release that you can have different data source for to show different distinct lists. So basically our idea is that we have stuffed some rows into one column. So basically we just have some comma separated list, but here we can have a list, of distinct items. And when we are doing this one, instead of in, it will do or like operators. So basically the only changes I did now is I added additional data source, and also I wrote near distinct, I wrote comma and or. So basically it means that now it will use this different approach of creating a filter. Yeah, here you go. Please try it. If what, just please come back to us. And please visit my Omega workflow register and filter out for this milestone, and you should see all our changes and improvements done in this release. Thanks for attention. Have a nice day.